for the quarterfinals. We have our 4th and 5th seed Henry Sams and Ben Johnson. On the Henry side, you saw him in the penultimate round. We're playing Abzan Blue. Ben's round, we saw him earlier on. He's on Jeskai Black Mentor. Pretty standard start. Tap land for Ben, trying to set up his 4-color mana base. An Oath of Nissa for Henry. Unfortunately, not quite the turn 1 Warden that he's been having every game that we've seen him. Henry's hand is pretty average. A couple of lands, a Siege Rhino and an Oath. For Ben Johnson, Crackling Doom, Painful Druids, Roast Jace, Prairie Stream, Sunken Hollow, Shambling Vent. So the thing he's hoping to do is, he was hoping to pull an untapped land to play the Jace. Unlikely to happen. But he will be able to deal with almost anything deployed by Henry.
Yeah, that's it. It looks like Ben's hand is really just setting up to go for a sort of long game between Jace and Painful Truth and a couple of removal spells. He doesn't have any threats, but he's going to be very comfortable heading into the mid and late game.
Yeah, so Henry Sams, not very...
Wow! Henry's hand is looking pretty low on action right now. He's...
Does Jace live? I think Jace lives.
I think Jace lives because Henry does not have any removal in his hand.
Would you have mulliganed that hand?
I think... Okay, so Henry's kept this hand presumably because players have seen deck lists going into their match here, and he knows that this is going to be quite a long game. Neither of the decks are really going to kill each other particularly quickly, I don't think. And he had the Oath to find some action, and then he's just hoping to sort of draw out of this and make sure that he's just consistently hitting his land drops so he can just cast anything. So it's not a good hand, but I could see it being a keep.
Sure.
I could see a speculative mull to 6 as well, just because you do have the Scry. Being down 1 card is not that big of a deal. Henry's also on the draw, so
yeah. I could see a mulligan.
Okay, so Ben has activated Jace and discarded a Soulfire Grandmaster. That's quite interesting here. Didn't have any threats, so that would be a threat. But I guess he just thinks that it's too small to ever interact.
It's possible that he just doesn't see himself casting it with what he has in hand. So he's got like a Painful Truth, which he intends to cast now.
That's very fair. It also just doesn't interact with Henry's creatures very well. It can't really tap through anything, and it doesn't really block anything very profitably.
Talking more about Henry's opener, he did have the Oath of Nissa to kind of dig for cards, but as we saw, it just it pulled a Wingmate Rock. Nothing very fruitious.
Wingmate Rock is a very good card in this matchup, I would imagine. Though. If you are capable of ever sticking a creature and getting to attack, the problem is I don't know that that's going to happen.
He's just drawn another land.
Right now.
He's drawn a second forest.
That is the dangerous thing with keeping a 5-land hand. Any lands you draw are dead for such a long time.
Yeah.
So we see the Siege Rhino come down, get the Helix in, putting Ben down to 14, but...
Ben's already like Painful Truths, so I mean, it's not even Henry putting pressure here, it's just...
And with the Roast and the Crackling Doom in his hand, he's just not that worried about a Rhino anyway. Henry's really just crossing his fingers and praying right now that the Rhino survives, makes it to combat and gets to attack so he can get that Wingmate out there.
Does he have the 5th land to cast it?
Yes, I think he might have the 5th land. Yeah, so we just see a Roast, killing the Rhino on site. And then we'll just see now if Ben has a fetch land here maybe to play, crack, flip Jace, and then flash back the Painful Truths. Okay,
Or just secure your mana.
Yep, just making sure he's got the double red. That's completely reasonable.
I mean, as I've said, as we keep saying, Henry's not really presenting Ben with any kind of pressure, so he can just take his time doing things. Doesn't want to damage the foil.
Flipping Jace, but there's not too much that he can do with Jace this turn, just because he did get the tapped land off of the fetch there.
He does have another Painful Truths in hand. His deck does play 4.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a really powerful card for him in this particular matchup, where life totals aren't going to be threatened as aggressively, just because there's so much removal. And drawing cards, having that pure card advantage, the 3-for-1 from Painful Truths, is really going to put him very far ahead in the mid game. And then going into the late game, never start back with Jace. Henry just fetching out another land here in his deck. And also setting up DZ influence. Just a fetch of convenience.
I mean, thinning his deck out.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay,
Offensive.
and he's drawn an offensive.
It's either going to eat a Crackling Doom or a Flashback Roast, or another roast.
Yeah, I think some of one of Ben's loots hit another roast, so he can cast that.
He's also got a Gideon in hand.
Okay. So he's fetching out a land.
And he knows about the Wingmate Rock, so he knows that he has to remove whatever threat that is being deployed. Henry has no man lands.
I will be interested to see how he sequences his plays this turn, though, with mind of having decklist and knowing that
he's flashing back Painful Truths. Oh, sorry. Okay. That makes more sense. I was very confused.
So, yeah, I was interested to see how we would sequence this turn to potentially play around a stop and deny. So yeah, he's just going for the flashback roast to remove the Inoffensive, remove the ferocious.
And we see a Justin Bieber.
And then Gideon just coming down and making it. Which I think Justin Bieber, you could say, is very chivalrous.
He's a 2-2.
I think he's basically a knight.
Really? I was going more for like he's just a 2-2. Average. Nothing important. Nothing special.
I think you'll find that an average human is a 1-1 in Magic. So.
Oh, so he's bigger than life.
Yeah, basically you're saying Justin Bieber's very small.
Alright, well we have a Biebs. Apparently he has like 7 of them, so I'm looking forward to the different variations of Justin Bieber we're going to be seeing.
Yeah, they are all different.
Yep, he is a rock star.
Yes, very smart. Justin Bieber.
Yet another line for Henry. Can you see him just hard casting that Wingmate Rock without the raid trigger at this point?
At some point he's going to have to. I'm not sure whether you actually pull the trigger this turn, or whether you try and wait one more turn. It really just depends if you draw something else that he can cast. I think if you have nothing else, then you just cast
He still
it.
has like 3 lands in hand. 2 mana. Looking at a Tasiga maybe? He's kind of like looking very, very carefully at his graveyard.
Yep, so we are seeing Tasiga.
So that'll eat the roast.
Just leaving up the mana for the activation here. Just hoping to hit sort of lands off the Tasiga activation.
Get back a Rhino. Yeah. Ben's life total is a little bit low. I can see it.
He just really wants to draw any kind of gas spell, and hitting lands would be perfect because he doesn't want any in his deck. He has enough lands to want to never draw. Yeah, and here we're going to see the roast
on the Tasiga activation in response. This also leaves Ben free to attack with Gideon and pressure Henry's life total, whereas without that he should be playing around Abzan Charm.
Unfortunately, Tasiga activation hits Inoffensive or Oath, so Ben gives it.
Yeah. Gets in for 7.
Yep, crunch.
I think at this stage you could even afford to give him the Anaffenza and just flash back that roast.
Yeah, that's one option. I just don't know too much that the oath can hit that you're scared of, past it just being
Yep.
a random creature.
Henry's just drawn another land. It's not really looking good here.
So presumably just going to cast the oath, see what it can get. Like, probably pretty close.
I love how everyone remembers that they're legendary. I think they have to be because of some other ones actually having an effect, but Oath of Nissa is really not good in that's.
Multiples don't do a whole lot. Past the
You can
ETB.
cast Planeswalkers with any color, like multiple times.
Your land gets
Very, very powerful. Very powerful effect. Yeah.
okay, finds the other task. Presumably delves away quite a bit of
Including the
stuff
Tasiga.
from the graveyard. I imagine at this point you're dealt everything.
But the Rhino?
Rhino?
Yeah. I mean, you don't really want another Oath of Nissa.
No, I don't. Yep, just delving everything away. I just don't think Anaffenza is good enough at this point to.
No. Very little. And again, he's got the activation up, hoping to activate.
Presumably. Yep.
Abzan, Charm, Warden. I think you get back the Warden.
You're going to get back. It's.
So he's going to go to 10, and then he's going to take 7, so he's going down to 3. So if Ben has any kind of burn in hand,
very, very close. Just with attacks because of the Shambling event. So.
yeah. He can also flash back the Crackling Doom in his graveyard.
Yep.
So he's presenting lethal. Oh, actually, I think Henry's just waiting to see if he's got it.
Now with the fetch, I believe it's lethal. It's just Ben goes. Henry just seeing if he can get one.
Why wouldn't Ben go for it though?
No, just whether Ben sees.
Sure.
Crackling to activate my shit. Activate again.
Yeah, so we saw it. That was well played. We're going to game 2. Yeah, I think a mulligan would have greatly benefited him there.
I think he was thinking about it for a while.
Yeah.
He did think about it for a few minutes and decided to make the keep, hope to sort of draw out of it, have the lands, make sure he can cast all of his spells, but
We have to keep in mind they can see each other's deck list, so he did know what he was up against. It's possible that he just thought the Rhino and the Oath would be enough. Looking towards sideboards, on Ben's side, a Calatus, a Transgress, a Roast, a Dragonlord Salunga, 3 Radiant Flames, 2 Dispel, a Disdainful Stroke, an Utter End, a Duress, 2 Duress, 1 Negate, 1 Obnixilis. I see a lot of singletons. What could you see him bringing in?
I think you are definitely bringing in that Dragonlord that card in this matchup.
Yep.
Disdainful Stroke would be good because it answers their most powerful threats in Wingmate Rock and Gideon Obnixilis from Henry's sideboard. The Obnixilis comes in from Ben's side as well. I could see you bringing in the Transgressor Mind and potentially the Roast. Roast probably popping out one of your Fiery Impulses or something like that. Minor up. Other than that, I could see Calatus coming in, but it's not incredibly exciting.
Sure.
That'd just be hard to take out.
Okay, Ben, on Henry's side, 2 Transgress the Mind, and Obnixilis Reignited, Infinite Obliteration, 2 Disdainful Strokes, 3 Hallowed Moonlight, 1 Dispel, a Calatus, 2 Self-Inflicted Wound, 1 Exerted Influence, and 1 Dromoka's Command. what do you see us bringing in?
From Henry's sideboard, yeah, I think Obnixilis Reignited is excellent. Exert Influence is going to be excellent. And then it's a similar situation with Transgress the Mind and Disdainful Stroke. Powerful Planeswalkers. As well as the Dragonlord Cylinder. And then I think you bring in the Self-Inflicted Wounds.
Yeah.
Nice. Powerful players if you sort of
Yeah, again, I hope we see, like, one of the reasons we featured this match is we knew that it would be a grindy, good game of Magic. It would, there'd be swings in it. It would be very interesting. Ben's just shown us what he's decided out, but ultimately we want good games of Magic.
Yeah, hopefully this next game is a little bit quicker, but generally both sideboard games are going to be a bit slower. There's quite a bit of slower, more card advantage cards coming in, like a Nicholas. You're just going to and make it more about advantage rather than getting off the fast stuff like that. Okay, players just drawing their opening hands now. Hoping to see no mulligans here.
For our top 8, Tyler Visser in first seed, Mark Sue in second seed, Chester Swords, Ben Johnson, Henry Sams, Joshua Lai, Dennis Chan, Jonathan Yuen. We've seen Tyler defeat Jonathan. Mark and Dennis are 1-1. Chester and his opponent are on game 1 still. So rounding up nicely. We see Henry's typical start of turn 1 Warden.
He has managed to get the turn 1 Warden, but I think I did see a Fiery Impulse in Ben's hand,
Yeah,
so
it looks like he's fetching appropriately for that. So.
he's just going to grab basic right away. Not going to try and bait out the activation. Just
it's a huge blowout if he's just like, all right, 1 year, and you're just like, I'll untap. Like, wide range of decks. We've got another copy of this Jeskai Black Mentor deck. We've got Ramp, we've got Rally, we've got Abzan Blue, we've got Joshua Lai, one of the 3 Ataka Red players who managed to make it into top 8. Dennis Chan on Mardu Green, and Jonathan was on Jeskai Green, so kind of like a 4-color mid-range deck?
Yeah, 4-color not black, which I thought was kind of interesting, opting to play some cards like Dromoka's Command over cards like Murderous Cut.
Yeah. Henry had a bit of a slow turn too. I didn't have an untapped land or anything to kind of play. Do you think that Sylvan Advocate would fit well into this deck?
Yeah, that's the interesting thing. He doesn't really have very many turn 2 plays. His turn 2 plays really... they're Transgress the Mind after sideboard, as well as just later Warden or an openness or like that.
So he's just transgressed Ben. Ben's got a couple of lands, Chandra, Mentor, and a Roast. Having that tapped land on turn 2 is just a huge loss for Henry. If the Warden had stuck around, it meant that it wasn't going to level up anyway.
I think this is a pretty excellent hand. He would like to have, say, a painful.
Well, he does play 4, so he's probably drawing one soon.
Yeah, he's got he's had a couple of removal spells, and he's got a couple of threats. One of them being really powerful, which is going to get taken by the Transgress.
I think that's absolutely like a fine choice. Like some people would say, take the Mentor, but I think you have to take Chandra. Henry's deck doesn't really have a way of dealing with it apart from like raw damage.
Yeah, outside of finding second transgress or damage or countering it, he can't really enter that Chandra. I imagine that the deciding factor, he just has like can answer that, and he doesn't have a lot of cards that can answer it otherwise. Whereas he has other removal spells which he can enter, and he has other threats to come back after the first one. Ben just plays a land and passes. Looks like he has drawn Crackling Doom. He's just going to sit on that. Also just looking to get at least one trigger from that Monastery Mentor on the turn that he plays it, rather than just play it out here, have it potentially die to a removal spell and get no value from it.
Yep.
Now we'll use 3 and fire back with a threat this turn.
Fourth land. Just pass the turn. It's not good.
It does seem a little awkward. I think I saw his copy of Exert Influence in his hand, which might have been part of the reason he kept. He had Warden in the Transgress, hopes to draw something in the middle, and then he has the Exert Influence to do something powerful going into the late game. But unfortunately, it doesn't seem like he's drawn one of his mid-game threats to just get out there.
I think the Exert Influence Dragonlord Salunga fight will be a good watch.
Yes, I think that will be that would be a huge swing in this game. Either just draws for turn. Plays his 5th land. He's cracking it now at sorcery speed, so perhaps we're seeing one of the powerful 5-drops with a Nixilis.
I think an Obnixilis would be pretty... it would take over the game, but it doesn't look like it is. Den Protector morphed.
Yep, so just looking to get a little bit of value.
Bring back
going.
the Transgress.
Yeah, I think you're probably bringing back the Transgress. Although Ben is beginning to get to the point of the game where anything he draws, he's going to be casting sort of straight away. So
he's kind of been holding on to the Mentor for a while.
Yeah, I think he could play it this turn and just fire off the roast on the Den Protector, make a token, and just make sure that you get some form of value. Yep, so just firing off the Mentor now, roasting the token, triggering the Mentor. In response, Den Protector flips, and...
Yeah, that's... What is Den Protector getting back?
I think he's just thinking about that now, potentially considering the Warden, because he can play it and level it straight away, and then be looking to go towards third ability, putting counters on it, but he does get back to Transgress. Because Ben is tapped out now, is protected against Transgress.
So a lot of this was in Ben's opening hand, where he had like a Fiery Impulse, Mentor, Roast, Chandra, and 3 lands. Like it was a pretty good hand to be keeping. Whereas Henry kept land, Transgress, Warden, Exert Influence, Den Protector. Solid hands on both halves. Let's see if Mentor can take over the game, or if he's just going to Exert Influence it.
Yeah, that's very true. He could just snap off the Exert Influence on the Mentor now and just say, I'll be the one gaining incremental advantage on...
Yep, and he just does it.
Yep.
He has... His way to trigger the prowess is extremely low, I've seen.
Yeah, it does seem like he doesn't have too many cards which trigger that.
I think Ben's just drawn a Painful Truths.
That's quite good here. It'll just be interesting to see whether he has a removing spell for the mentor here.
I think you do need to clear it out.
Just because he knows that Henry does have the transgress. But that could be an interesting decision point as to you play an expensive spell
Oh,
from your hand.
yeah, I could see the Crackling Doom. And you can Painful Truths and get in for 3 damage, or just attack for 2.
So he's got dig through time in hand. That it looks to be the decision point of whether you prefer to have a dig through time or whether you prefer to have the Painful Truth. Painful Truths potentially having an extra damage your opponent stapled onto it, in this case because of the prowess trigger on the monk. He decides to just leave the mana up, choosing to have the dig through time, choosing 2 cards from 7, being more powerful in Ben's mind in this instance than just drawing 3 random cards. That seems pretty fair at this point, just because when you have 6 lands in play, drawing lands is pretty low value. And we just see Henry throw for turn, first thing he does, transgress you. I think we'll see Ben respond with a dig through. It is a little awkward that Henry will get to transgress after the dig through time resolves.
Yeah.
So any cards that he takes,
We're seeing maybe a Disdainful Stroke here.
that would be cool.
That's a blowout,
That is a pretty big blowout.
and he's going to transgress the Painful Truth. So Ben is not in a great position, and he's got the Anaffenza to follow it up.
That is a pretty big swing in this game.
He's just drawn another land.
Yeah, that was a land.
He has no man lands unless that's a Shambling Vet hiding underneath there. But this is
Yeah, just from that exert influence, removing a threat from Ben's side, putting a threat on Henry's side, making Ben answer that, and then Ben chose to go for the dig through time in response to the transgress rather than just using the Painful Truths straight away, and then the Disdainful Stroke just punishing that very brutally to get rid of both.
so Ben's just taken 8 from this Anaffenza.
Anaffenza, just starting to punch in there.
He can still buy back into this game. Unless Henry tops us off with like a Wingmate Rock. Ben is still in an okay place.
So Henry's passed the turn, Ben's going to fetch.
He hasn't really found anything. He hasn't really found a threat. I mean, the Chandra got transgressed. That Disdainful Stroke was huge.
Yes, that was a really large swing in this game. But, it could be one draw step away from there being another swing back.
He's just drawn a Fiery Impulse. And I think he has a Disdainful Stroke in hand. He has approximately one more draw step.
Henry is just drawing lands, I think, on these turns, though, so Ben just has to find an answer for this Anaffenza, but if you can imagine if Ben drew Dragonlord Cylinder, for example, on his next draw step, that would be so huge.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's opted to block with the monk, and then before damage, fire off the Fiery Impulse to trigger prowess on the monk and deal 2 damage. So that answers the Anaffenza. Basically checked whether Henry had any removal.
He didn't really have any choice. Like, his hand at the moment is, I think it's a dig through time as well. So we've just gotten another match result. Mark Zhu has been taken out by Joshua Lai. So Ramp taken out by Ataka Red. Not very surprising. Sorry, that was my mistake. Dennis Chan on Mardu Green. I've played that a lot recently. It's a very good matchup for Mardu Green.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing because it seems like the reason you like to play Ramp is it's very good against
mid-range
decks. But just because World Breaker, for example, end the game straight away, and a lot of these mid-range decks are crackling and answer your while putting on pressure, it gets a little. Okay, so we've got Abzan Charm coming up the top here. Just going to draw some cards. Hope to find one of the really powerful threats.
It is a bit of a cripple fight at the moment, where both players have no card in hand. They're both on 9, but one player's got to dig through time.
Well, that's it. It's the Abzan deck has fired off card advantage. The Sky deck is going to fire off a dig through time.
Ben's still got that Disdainful Stroke. At the moment, he's looking at like a Calatus, a Painful Truths, and a Roast. I think you take the Calatus and the Roast.
I can see Calatus Painful Truths.
Yeah, or that. I guess the Roast gives you immediate value. You deal with the threat, and you're on 9.
Yeah,
you still have to be aware of Rhino into Rhino, because we all know they come in packs.
They do, but I would hope I draw a removal in the Painful Truth.
I guess Henry's gone to 7 because of it. Lee drew an Oath of Nissa, a Dent Protector, Tasiga.
I was getting a Tasiga. Tasiga is pretty big right here.
But it's big enough to walk into a Disdainful Stroke.
It is, which Ben has left up exactly that much mana.
Yeah.
Ben just really letting Henry choose himself. And then going to Disdainful Stroke it. But if it had resolved here, have that Disdainful Stroke, it would be quite a big swing.
Yep.
Even though Ben had just resolved the dig through time, being able to play Tasiga here for 1 mana and then
activate it into a pretty good graveyard.
Yeah. Generally, you want the smallest possible graveyard.
Yeah. Well, he's got a lot of lands in there.
He does. He has managed to go basically all of the spells from his graveyard.
And even now, we have no idea who's going to win this match. So he did take Calatus Painful Truths.
So just going to cast the Painful Truth, see if he can find something.
Or even bait out a counterspell.
So he does finds Dragonlord. So I imagine he's just going to play a land here.
Play the Calatus, represent a spell, pass the turn.
Henry draws
Abzan Charm. Exile or draw cards?
I think it probably has to exile.
Yep.
Don't know if you can run the gambit of draw cards. I don't think you have enough removal spells left in your deck.
That's very true.
Going to be your best option?
Do you just play the Dragonlord?
No, Dragonlord I would sit on here, definitely. Wait for Henry to play some form of threat.
I think you're perfectly okay seeing 2 lands here.
Yeah, that's always the thing with those type of cards, where you look at your opponent's hand and take something, and they.
I think he's just going to play the Dragonlord.
Okay, I mean Henry is on 7.
Yeah, I think that's a bit dangerous. Like any removal spell, I guess. Oh, it's a Tasiga.
Yeah, so.
And he can activate it twice.
Yes, so unfortunately this I don't think is going to work out excellently for Ben.
He leaves all the Abzan Charms in there.
It might have been a little bit hasty to just fire off the Dragonlord there and try and go for the win.
I'll be honest. I mean, it's definitely not the worst, you know. You get back stubborn denial.
It's tough because you don't really want to give him stubborn denial because
You have
in
roast,
hand,
yeah.
So you also don't really want to give him the other cards.
Because you can't do anything. And again, none of this would have happened if you just held on to the Dragon Lord. I think if you transgress and C2 lands, you're perfectly okay just sitting back and dealing with whatever happens, stealing the other thing.
I mean, Henry still would have got past category, get some activations, but you would end up.
So he's got an Abzan charm.
Yeah.
You just fire it off?
Yeah, it looks like he's just thinking about whether he wants to exile that Lord. I don't know that you trigger on right away.
As long as he passes and Ben doesn't fetch end of turn and either does it in his upkeep or not at all. Yeah.
They're I just don't know that they're. Yes, he's on 7. Dragon Lord can hit him, but Ben is also on 6, so he can't really attack with the Dragon Lord either. I don't think. I think you're better off.
Even if you just leave the Tasigur in play and you just activate it a lot.
Yeah, I mean that's it. Henry is just going to. If everything stays as it is and no one plays any more permanents, Henry is going to win this game.
Sure, but we know that he has a roast in hand.
Yeah. So see what happens here. Whether you
Activate it or yeah. Odorous cut and a land. Yeah.
I don't know. It's also possible he doesn't have any more blue in the deck to get rid.
He can still get like planes.
The stuff in the
Oh, sure. Well, let's have a
think
look. He has a smoldering marsh. A sunken hollow, a prairie stream.
Yeah, that's it.
That's it.
He actually doesn't have any targets.
And he's seen his deck list. Do you have a look to know this? If he remembers, that'd be pretty sweet.
It just depends whether you think that Stubborn Nile is going to be bad for you in the future turns. Which I could definitely see it being great for you. So.
Oh,
the Dragon Lord gets in there now that there's no Tasigur anymore. Taps. Chooses not to fetch because Flooded Strand is
pretty dead.
Dead in the water,
Yep.
No, just a bluff there. Henry just changing his wondering.
Gideon? No, Murderous.
Yeah.
It just costs 4 del. Okay.
Dragon Lord. I think he does have the gun.
Yeah.
So that's going. Presumably just making a knight here. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I can't see an emblem being fantastic.
No, emblem seems like probably the worst choice.
Ben's just drawn a Jace.
It's great if it's around.
Yeah.
But
Henry still has that Abzan charm in hand, right?
I believe he does still have an Abzan.
So Ben has 1 land in hand. Jace is on chump block duty. And so Ben has to block the Gideon because otherwise he just puts counters. And then he's pushing 2 to 4 damage.
So plus Gideon. Wing with both of my guys. Block Gideon. Jace.
Take 2.
So yeah, Jace would have been excellent if he could manage to stick around, but it just wasn't an option. So
And he's just drawn a disdainful stroke.
yeah. So we're going to game 3. So that was a bit more representative of where I think this generally is. Sort of a long, grindy game with a lot of swings backwards and forwards as people draw cards and find threats, hoping to sort of top deck more threats in the.
So we're going to game 3. That game was everything we asked for. It was a real game of Magic.
I think it would have been interesting to see how that game turned out had Ben waited on Silumgar for one turn.
News from one of our other tables, Chester v. Joshua. They're going to game 3. Raleigh versus Atakared. Yes. One of those games. Had a chat with Chester before this match. He was talking about how we cut the Arishan Cleric.
Yes, he had cut one Arishan Cleric for a disdainful strike as a concession to the increase in the number of Kalitas, I think.
Yep.
And now he is paired into the red deck in the top 8.
Yep.
It's a little unfortunate, but...
Raleigh's got an okay game against Red regardless. And
yes, I think that is very
I don't think it was Arishan Cleric that was really winning you that match.
It was definitely...
Sure, it was helping.
Definitely probably your best turn too, that matchup. I don't think it's a loss cause. You do still have a lot of insight. So it looked like Ben changed a couple of cards. It looked like he was taking out a Fiery Impulse. Not quite sure what he brought in.
Fiery Impulse is pretty mediocre. It hits Den Protector, it hits Gideon tokens, it hits Warden.
I think it's probably just a concession to being able to kill something like a Warden before it starts leveling up when you're on the draw.
Yeah. The other thing is, I guess it also hits Reflector Mage.
Once it's Spellmaster.
Yeah.
Players just drawing some hands here. Henry's hand is looking pretty land heavy again, I think. So be interesting to see whether he decides to go for a mulligan this time.
Yep.
Yep, so Henry has gone for a mulligan here.
Yep.
Not keep. I believe it. Well, that one probably too greedy. Game 1.
Yeah.
So. Looks like we've got 2 Enophenzas. I think that might be a Siege Rhino, a Disdainful Stroke, and a couple of lands. What do you think about that?
I think you have to keep it.
He goes down to 5.
Yeah. From Ben's side, we've got Painful Truths, Dig Through Time, 2 Flooded Strands, Shambling Vents, Mountain Plains. So he's really riding on Painful Truths. I think it's time for. I think it was time for Ben to keep the greedy hand.
Yeah, Um, Fortunately for Ben, though, his two spells are going to find him action really well.
But there are also spells that get eaten by a Transgress the Mind.
They do. Um, Henry going down to 5, though, so
But he didn't know that.
no.
He was
obviously.
the active player and needed to decide first. Would you have kept or mulliganed that?
I would keep that hand.
Funnily enough, I would too. But I also think it's just very greedy.
It's reasonably greedy, but I think it's pretty safe that you're going to get to cast that Painful Truths on turn 3. And if you don't, the hand did have a reasonable number of fetch lands, so it's going to be a pretty quick dig through time.
We do see Henry scry to the top. The hand that we're looking at for Henry is Polluted Delta, Transgress the Mind, Tasiga, Gideon, Wooded Foothills. So indeed, that Transgress may hit.
So it just plays Polluted Delta and says go ahead. Henry just considering, yep, so he is going to go for an end step fetch.
The turn 2 Transgress does come at the cost at a worsened mana base.
Yes, it does.
So I mean, you could go like Sunken Hollow into like Canopy Vista. You could go Swamp into Canopy Vista, or Canopy Vista into Swamp. But ideally, you're not getting many of the colors you want. Yeah, so Henry is sacrificing his mana base in lieu of firing off that Transgress.
Which is going to
It's going to pay
potentially
him off, but I think technically it may not be the best play.
It's sort of an interesting thing because it does pay him off that he's going to get to nab that Painful Truth.
Yeah.
But at the same time,
But that's just results-based thinking.
he's not getting to cast any kind of threat. So he's not really getting to punish the fact that he sees that Ben's hand is draw spells and lands.
I do love that Ben has separated the dig through time. Like, take this, please. This is the best card in my hand right now. And I think it's actually perfectly reasonable to take the dig through time just because the amount of fetches in his hand. It's going to be a cheap dig through time.
It is. That's what I was
But it's
saying
also not
earlier.
going to be next turn. So I think, what would you take?
I think you probably have to take the Painful Truths.
Yep.
And just, hope to have something else to answer later on. Yep, so it takes Painful Truths. Just because I think if you let Ben resolve the Painful Truth, I think he's just... Henry, I believe, is stuck without lands at this point.
He's got I think he's got a Gideon hand. I might have seen a Wooded Foothills.
I would put it well as
Sorry, I might have seen another Wooded Foothill. He plays 16 fetches. It's reasonable. I think Ben's just drawn his own Transgress.
Yes, I believe it was. So firing back. Okay, so he does have another layer.
Yeah. And then
his
Tasigur,
hand is-
Obnixilis, and Gideon. And he's not going to be casting anything but the Tasigur for a little while. But I could see it just being perfectly reasonable to take the Tasigur.
I think I would snap take the Tasigur here. The only spell
That does anything.
that Henry can cast. You have, multiple turns to find something for Obnixilis.
Ben could potentially fire off a dig through time next turn as well.
And
And Anafenza would have been a good draw.
And
So would another Tasigur.
And Fencer or Tasigur would both be pretty excellent draws here. Because you know that Ben's hand has no removal
Yep.
to answer those. So
He has perfect information about Ben's hand.
getting the first and making rather than trying threats or for the card advantage. Ben just developing colors.
Oh, Henry was just watching. Maybe he's got an absent.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah. So Ben has drawn another copy of Painful Truths. Plays that.
he's found a mentor, I believe, a disdainful stroke.
Ed, Henry have Abzan Chump there.
Oh, that's really weird. Not leaving the fetch in play, and you know. Oh,
I'm not.
did he draw it?
I believe he did
Yep.
there. Not quite sure why he decided to fetch straight away if he.
Okay. So Henry now has Gideon mana,
He does. Yeah. So
but Ben does have the disdainful stroke,
yeah, it looked like he drew the disdainful stroke off the painful.
the painful truths. Yeah.
Which is going to be quite good for Ben here, I think. It is interesting though whether do disdainful stroke and the Gideon straight
the
away.
Obnixilis.
Yeah, or you.
Yeah. Wait for the Obnixilis.
For the and then it's sort of a game of cat and mouse there with Crackling Doom against Gideon, whether Henry keeps producing knights or goes for the activation. The creature. Okay, goes for the mentor here, says go ahead. Representing disdainful stroke pretty heavily.
And Henry fetching an upkeep. Interesting.
Yeah. That's an interesting
He needs
choice.
to not only draw the land, but it needs to be able to fetch black mana.
Yeah, I imagine that's what it is. Wants to draw a land. Like drawing exactly Canopy Vista doesn't really do anything for him.
I think
so,
he might have a flooded strand in there.
Yeah.
Be interesting to see if he goes with Obnixilis or Gideon first, because he should have access to all that mana.
That is an interesting choice, isn't it? I'm a pretty big fan because I think he has Tassiger as well of going for the Gideon. Gideon gets counted and you
Playing
resolve
Tassiger?
I think Tassiger probably has, but it's good say.
Yep.
Good.
Gideon is definitely harder for them to deal with. It's an A1 threat.
Okay, so he's instead going for
Murderous
the
Cut?
Murderous Cut on Monastery Mentor, which this is also quite good for Henry, forcing Ben to either counter the Murderous Cut.
Do you think he disdainful strokes it here, knowing his hand?
He does have the Crackling Doom, so
He can deal with a Gideon,
it could be enough.
but Obnixilis will be.
Have a because he can counter the Henry plays Gideon, makes a knight, Crackling Doom,
Sure.
kill Gideon, giving the next turn
With an Obnixilis.
looking like Obnixilis comes down, is forced into killing them, and that leaves Ben with tokens, and then if he can do any,
Oh, he's got the dig through time then.
yeah. That's
Sure. Could also just tick up here. That would be.
ticking up would not be exactly pure value. So let's see whether Ben opts for that play or he opts for activate back with it. Yep, so he goes for the sacrifice. Right, 2 damage to attack Gideon. If it gets in for 3 points of damage, basically getting to go plus a little value. Always pretty good. But it does mean that Obnixilis is probably coming down this turn.
Yeah, I think if like, if Henry does go for the Obnixilis, respond and takes down on the Mentor. Respond with a dig through time.
Yeah, I think Ben will definitely get the addition. Because if Nicholas is basically locked into minusing on that Mentor.
Otherwise, it just dies, or it's just 5 mana draw a card at that point.
Yeah, and you really just don't have any way to win the game. I think.
Just play
you
the
don't get rid of the
Obnixilis.
Mentor. So dig through time and response.
I saw a Crackling Doom and a whole bunch of lands. Maybe an Obnixilis?
I think Nicholas will the deal. Ben's pretty far ahead.
Yep.
Mentor being able to have made 3 monks is just too much incidental advantage, I think.
I think Mentor making 3 monks and then attacking with them. Like getting to a point where he can attack with them. That's a Chandra.
And there comes a Chandra straight off the top. Play
So-
Chandra, active prowess on my monks. Kill your Obnixilis. Kill you? Yeah, that seems pretty good.
Yeah. So 2 for a 6. No, he's just got lethal no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He can both lethal and attack
And then kill Obnixilis. Don't BM him, just close out the game. Or just do cool things like Murderous Cut your own guy to trigger prowess.
So
Alright,
we see the Mentor.
going through to our top 4, we have Dennis Chan, Tyler Visser, Ben Johnson, and either Chester Swords or Joshua Lai.